Hi, welcome back to another edition of Relatable. I am your host, Stephanie Michele. This is the show where we talk about exceptional human encounters, the people that make them happen, and the actions it takes to create them. So I know for many of us, it's back to school time, but for me, I'm just leaning into the last days of summer and just trying to enjoy it. But back to school gets me thinking. It gets me thinking about learning, which, if you watch the show, I'm always thinking about learning, especially social learning. And over the weekend, I finally dug into a book that Erica Berger from episode 114 recommended to me. It's called The Buddha's Brain. And this book was both scientific and spiritual, which is my favorite duo. And in this book, I found this particular thing extremely fascinating. So now, bear with me. You're not going to like this when you first hear me say this, but everybody's brain is negative. Okay, and there's a reason for that. When our early ancestors, they needed to be reminded of negative experiences for survival, so they didn't do it again, and this is how they would learn. So we tend to store more negative things than we do positive things. And this is why, bad information about a person carries more weight than good information. This is also the reason why more people are motivated to write a bad review, unfortunately, than write a good review. In relationships, and this is really important to think about, it typically takes 5 positive interactions to overcome the effects of one single negative one. So 5-to-1 ratio. You want 5 positive experiences in interactions with someone to outweigh that one negative one. Now, social behavioral data continues to tell us that people are feeling more isolated these days. Much of this has to do with that little thing that's in your pocket or in your purse or sitting on your desk right now, or maybe you're on it, multitasking, but that phone, we're substituting way too much digital interaction for in-person experiences. As we connect less in person, every interaction counts. I cannot express that enough. If we want to feel more connected to each other and have people reciprocate that connection, being mindful about the quality of your interaction is a good place to start. I don't emphasize exceptional human encounters because it's a nice thing to do for somebody else. I emphasize this because if we all get better, if we all pay attention to these interactions, we get better together when we care about the quality of our interactions. Now, I know my guest today has a tremendous amounts of experience helping people navigate these ups and downs of living and interacting with people and love and careers, and I'm just so thrilled that she's here with us today. So joining me on the Relatable Couch today is Dr. Linda Sullivan. She is a trailblazing, internationally known psychic. She was one of the first psychics to have her own radio show and is often referred to as the psychic because people psychics are calling her to get advice. People from all walks of life seek her guidance, from CEOs of Fortune 500 companies to celebrities to professionals to office clerks to blue-collar workers and everyone in between. Linda received her Bachelor's of Art degree in Health Education from San Francisco State University and went on to earn her Master's degree in Public Health from the University of Michigan, my home state. She was ordained as a Doctor of Divinity in 1999, and in 2008, Linda was awarded her PhD in Metaphysics from the American Institute of Holistic Theology. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here, Stephanie. I'm thrilled. I've really been looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. Well, I just got to unload what I did this weekend, what I'm thinking about. So I always like to ask the guests, what has your attention right now? What's really pulling your attention?
Well, besides my job and my career as a metaphysical healer, psychic, and medium, and I also have a candle magic line that's over 20 years old, I've embarked upon a new, more physical aspect of my profession where I'm working in doctor's offices as a doctor, helping people lose weight using laser. So I'm opening up 2 new offices with 2 new people. One's an MD on the west side of Los Angeles in Santa Monica. The other's a chiropractor in the San Fernando Valley. Plus I have a studio at home. So I'm in the process, of recreating, and they both want me in white lab coats and being the doctor, and they're giving me assistance. And so I'm looking at embroiderers for the logo and what font I want for my name, all the little details. And of course it'll be in purple because purples and the hot pinks are my colors.
Yeah. I see that.
So I've been concentrating on that besides socializing with my friends and going to movies.
Your dad just had a big birthday.
My father just celebrated 90 on August 13th, and we had 80 people from all over the world at a restaurant on the 10th of August, and we all celebrated him. Yeah, and he's going to Australia with his girlfriend. We lost my mom 10 years ago, and he's been with this woman for about 9 years, and he keeps going. I hope I have his genes.
Yeah, I bet you do.
On the outside, I think I have my mom's insides.
Yeah.
The plumbing is a little more like my mom's side.
A little different,
huh? But yeah, I'm just busy.
You're
I'm
busy.
helping people and keeping creative.
Yeah, keeping people healthy too.
I do, because I heal by phone. I heal through candles. I have one girl who's got shingles right now down in the San Diego area, so I'm helping her. And people call and I heal by phone with breathing, color, and words, or I do the healing with the laser in a doctor's office, and then of course I do some education and inspiration. Yeah.
Well, let's go back in the time machine right now.
Okay.
And
where are we going?
Where are we going? So when did you really learn that you had these abilities? Like, when was the first sign that you're like, oh,
Stephanie, okay, here's what happened. When I was growing up as a Girl Scout or dating and smoking dope like we all did in the 60s, or going to concerts. Then I went off.
Have a good time.
I had a good time. And then I went to San Francisco State. I followed a boyfriend after school and we broke up, but I stayed, and it was not the right choice for me. But I ended up with my bachelor's in health education, and I knew I liked helping people, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. I didn't understand the psychology world, and I loved philosophy, but at that time I didn't know how to put it together. So when I got accepted, I loved epidemiology, which is epidemics, study of epidemics. But when I got out of school, that was in 1977, I left Ann Arbor, and of which I was the vice president of the school, and I got to meet President Ford. That was the highlight.
Very
Ford
cool.
came to campus, and I was at dinner one night. When I got out of school, we were just coming into Reaganomics, and Ford had left, and Carter was in office, and things were changing, and CDC was on a freeze, and I didn't know where to go. So I ended up as a career person in industrial hygiene, which was one of my minors under epidemiology, which is research. So I was working in an aerospace company. I quit, and then I worked for an insurance company doing environmental health. Well, on my first out-of-town assignment in 1981, the plane crash landed on the way home. So I left. We flew from John Wayne Airport up to San Jose, California, to do some work in a hospital. Flew back to Los Angeles. The plane crashed.
Before it got to, before it was close to the airport.
No.
Crash landed at the airport.
Yes. We were sitting in the coffee shop, and I looked at the plane, and I said to my partner, I said, "Doesn't it look like it could crack there?" Because I had a vision of a fuelage or an exhaust settlement beyond the wing of the plane, and he didn't see anything. And an hour and a half later, we crashed, and the plane cracked in half right where I had the vision.
Wow.
So that was my first premonition in my life, and I was 27 at the time. And sliding down the ramp,
did that scare you? Like, what?
I didn't think of it then. I just thought that was kind of weird. So I didn't think about it, but I thought about it after we crashed.
Yeah.
And then because sliding down the ramp, this loud voice spoke to me, and something exited me, and something took over me. And I didn't know. But some psychic told me I was a walk-in. And what a walk-in is, if you read Ruth Montgomery's books or read any of the information on walk-ins, it's when a soul of the past leaves and a new one enters. So she said whatever entered you is a psychic. So I went to her about a month after the plane crash because I was out of my mind. Nobody could help me. I was in the hospital for 4 days. I became very, very psychic. I heard loud voices, things I'd never heard, voices I'd never heard. It wasn't just day-to-day chit chat.
It wasn't your voice.
We all have those little. We have the committee going, but this was a different one.
Yeah.
So I started listening to it, and it scared the daylights out of me. And then I had like a vision of Christ coming out of a wall, and I thought, oh my God, now I'm a Jew for Jesus. And then I saw the light, and I mean, weird things happened, and I didn't know what to talk to. I was in therapy. They thought I needed medication. Back in 1981, no one's talking about this stuff. I was like, all by myself. I even called Elizabeth Kubler-Ross at UCLA because she was doing near-death and death and dying experimentation and research, but she couldn't even comprehend what I was trying to tell her, where I was out of my body. I was out of my body for 4 months. I stand 5'8", but there was a part of me that was 50 feet tall. I was like a cyclops. And I was seeing things psychically and spiritually, but I didn't know that's what it was. It took 6 years to bring it back. But the first 4 months was the worst, and I was nuts. But I just
as anyone would be. I mean,
well, it's trauma, it's PTSD, and it's a plane crash. It's like the guy's coming back from war, accidents. I mean, it's horrifying. So that started the psychic stuff. A year later, I got hit by a fire truck, and it took me to another level. And the captain got out of the truck and came over and said, "You okay, man?" I said, and I started laughing and crying at the same time. I said, "Oh yeah, last time I had a plane crash and I'm getting hit by a fire truck." I mean, you don't hear these things, but it took me to another level yet. And then 2 years after that, I totaled a car on a rainy night and I had the white light experience. And people may think the white light's just a fantasy or you got a bump on the head. No, I'm here to attest that after my car spun out, I said, I just want to go home because I was so tired. I was working that day. And all of a sudden this light, and you may get chills. Let me know if you get chills. Went from my head to the ceiling of my Camaro into the heavens, and the same voice that spoke to me coming down the ramp of the plane came back and said, "You can come with us now or stay and do." And I was given a message. And as soon as I heard that, I said, "All right, I'll stay." There was a knock on the window. It was the paramedics to get me out of my car. And I got on the street and I said, "They want me off the planet. They want me off the planet," because I didn't know what was going on. It was one thing after another. But I went to yet another level. And I'm like, I just got chills. So, I kind of healed from that, and I became more and more psychic, not knowing what to do, but it wasn't until 1992, almost 11, 12 years later, I said, "Okay, what do you want me to do with this?" Because I ran. I didn't know what to do. And next thing I know, I was on Psychic Friends Network with Dionne Warwick, and I became real famous in the infomercial. It was the first 900 line, and then I got accepted on
So you're accepted. You're like,
TV.
"Okay, I hear you."
I started surrendering, like, "Okay, what do you want? I have these accidents. Where do you want me to go with this?" And I'd say things to people, and they said, "Linda, everything you said just happened last week." I go, "What are you talking about?" I didn't even know. It just comes out of me. So then I was on...
Did you test did you start to...
I'd watch.
Read friends or read family members?
No, not deliberately. No, I would just say something if they came back. But I started noting, and then I thought, okay. And then somebody told me, "You need to get on Psychic Friends." I got on Psychic Friends, and I was chosen out of 365 people for K-Big Radio here in Los Angeles, which was like one of the largest FM stations. And I got my start in radio in 1994. And then after that ended, one of the producers suggested I could go across town, and he helped me start my own show. And then I was syndicated for 18 years. I had a huge broadcasting long before the internet. I left in 2009 when FM Talk with CBS went off the air, and that's just as YouTube and the digital world was starting. So there was that segue. And I have an internet station at home. I don't use it. I stream old shows. I think the last was 2015. But I had a heyday on radio. I was very well known. I did a lot of TV shows. I've been in movies as myself and as the character. So I've done a lot. But I still guest on shows, whether it was George Nuri and his show on Coast to Coast or shows like yours. I mean, I'm flattered. And I love helping and getting the message out. And I may get back in the media. I might. I don't know. I have opportunity. But I'm at a point right now where I have a lot of repeat customers. And I have people that drive me crazy, and I don't want them as a customer.
I was just going to say, because thinking about really, and you and I have kind of talked about this, like when people meet a psychic, they're like, "Oh, read me, right?" Like you're walking around.
Like the lady at the groomer said, "Oh, you're a psychic? What do you see about me?" After she wanted to pay like $100 on my dog, and I don't even like
ruined your dog.
I said, she goes, "Well, bring me some cards." I said, "That'd be better." I mean, everybody wants it, but I'm not always getting it back. If I feel like bartering, changing, helping, yes. One guy offered me this gorgeous painting. And he's a brilliant painter. He needs a manager, but I'm not going to manage him. But he needs to go. I saw where he's going, and so he wanted another reading. He goes, "Well, I can't barter right now." So I don't work for free. So it's always like, can I just, no?
Do you go through times? It feels like to me, because it feels like that it's a blessing and a curse.
It is a blessing and a curse. I've learned through the years to shut it down. I no longer channel the other side.
You talk
professionally. I used to have, I don't know how many a week, where people wanted their dog, their husband, their wife, their kid. There's one that stands out, and it's going to be in the book when I finally publish it. And I have pictures from the woman, the mother, where I was on the air one night. She goes, "Why did he die?" And I just said, "He hung himself." And her son came through, and yes, he had hung himself 3 weeks earlier. And I said, "I see a donkey, overalls, and a basketball or something." She goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." And 3 weeks later, she called the show. She was from Chicago, and she said, "I found a picture from his second birthday where he was wearing overalls. There was a basketball and Dumbo." the donkey, a stuffed animal had been given to him. So I got messages from Spirit about proofing that he's here, she's got that, and it all came together. She sent me the photographs, so I have permission to print them when I feel like it, but I don't want to channel the other side like I did.
Channeling is more exhausting than just...
It's more exhausting, but there's a very negative side. We're now in 2019. I started channeling in 06 after I had 100 tumors removed from my hips and thighs that opened me up. So the plane crash got me psychic, the fire truck took me another level, then I had an emergency surgery in 91 and I became the healer, and then in 96 was the tumors and I started the mediumship. I helped a lot of people. I'm very grateful. I have amazing testimonies that fill boxes. But there's a negative pull, and what I urge your listeners to understand, it's become a big business. Everybody's channeling. Everybody's a psychic. Everybody's a medium. They're not. There's a lot of charlatans. There's a lot of wannabes, a lot of could-bes. But as Stephanie said, I'm a psychic. Psychics and mediums have come to me for years for answers because I can tell the timing of an event where most can't. Even James Van Praagh in his book, Speaking to Heaven, says timing's the hardest part to predict. I predict timing. If I say October, November, you can bank on it almost October, November, maybe 6 weeks off.
That's awesome.
I just read somebody yesterday. I said 2 years ago, you're going to sell the house, leave this relationship, and as soon as it's done, you're going to meet someone. He called to say he met someone 2 weeks later. And he goes, I said, I don't see you getting married this year. He said, well, you said I'd be married this year. I said, not God, but you'll get married next year. So you're off 6 months. I've had readers tell me something that happens 20 years later if it happens at all, Wow. Yeah.
So knowing this, so you've read so many people, you had a radio show, hundreds of people would call in.
Yeah.
If you step out of Linda's body for a little bit and just look down on the human condition, what have you learned about people? What are they asking for?
We're all the same. Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson said the same thing in Ebony, black and white. We're all the same, searching for love. We all want to know if we're going to have abundance. There's that group of people that have more money than they'll ever use in a lifetime, but the average person, and I'm not talking the unfortunate welfare, there's the average. Hard worker, middle class, if it so exists today, right? It's not like it was. Opportunities are different. But the average person wants to know, is anybody going to love me? Is he having an affair? Does she really come back? Am I going to get a raise or a promotion? What am I supposed to be doing? Am I in the right career? I'm really tired. Will my kids stop using drugs? I get the same kind of thing. And after a while, after 18 years on radio, I couldn't do any more love life questions. I became very creative in how I could answer the same question with a different bent. And it was great. I'd do 50 calls a night in 2 hours with 16 minutes of commercials. It's great.
So you would get more, if there was a ratio between career and love.
Love is always number one.
Like 70-30?
Probably more like 80-20 for love first. Moving, redecorating.
So there's kind of love, career, and decisions. You get a lot of what should I do about this?
But the thing that's hardest, and what I think is beneficial for your profession, which ties in, and I talked about this to you in private, but when I was an undergraduate at San Francisco State studying healthcare, the one thing that stayed in my mind all these years, and I'm out 45 years or something, 44 years since college, that school, that the definition of health is the state of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. So it's not just cancer, it's not just a dental problem, it's not your heart and cardiovascular, but the spiritual. Most people don't talk about the God, the spirit, that part of our soul that we need. So the girl, I work with chiropractors, a lot of chiropractors, and there's one that's down in the San Diego area who calls me to confirm certain illnesses and anger situations with his patients. Then he refers them to me to heal after he's done his thing. So one, he said, so-and-so, one of my patients has shingles and she's yada, yada, yada. And I just took over. I said, oh, it's a relationship. I don't know who it is, but he's going through this and she's suppressing and her body's burning up in disease because they're not communicating. She got hurt. Turns out I had worked with that girl 6 months prior because I said, do you want to tell me who it is? I said, she needs this. Oh my God, we're going to do that. So now she's working with me again. I just sent her health and wellness power candles. I'm doing a healing on her. Shingles, which is like a chicken pox, and a herpes virus, which is extremely painful. And she's loaded with the sores right now, and she's burning. Her skin is on fire. But it's all regarding a horrible, abusive situation she'd been in. That I've said, you've got to remove yourself. Because a week after this event happened, she broke out. She can't get it out. So disease is emotional. And I'm not saying doctors are wrong. There's medication, but they can over-medicate. And a lot of them just get paid by the big farm just to dispense rather than helping. Okay, so there's another issue there. There's doctors that do surgery to remove things, but they don't always know the cause. I'm a metaphysician, so I go to the emotions. Well, just like Louise Hay. Oh, you're diabetic. Your pancreas has to excrete extra sugar because you're lacking sweetness in life. This one has shingles because she's scared and she's fighting.
This is in this book that I'm reading about too, about the brain. Like, we don't want to believe this. I don't know why humans don't want to believe this, but like a lot of physical things are something else. It's a sign of something else.
Absolutely, and
not everything. I don't want I know there's people that are suffering from disease. But not everything.
Well, cancer is hatred. My mother died of cancer. I've watched it. My aunt died of cancer. The aneurysms, the asthma, you're choking, you're suffocating. Weight,
chronic pain
is emotions. Alcoholism is emotions. Can't deal, can't cope, don't want to look at the truth. Drug addiction, sex addiction, shopping addiction. It's all to not deal with us.
Do you have some opinion? I'm sure you do.
Of course.
Do you have some opinion on why our human condition does not accept how important mental health and spiritual health are? Like why? I'd say spiritual health has gotten...
Well, it's grown in the last 20 years. Like I was saying, I was a forefront in 1981. Over 30 years ago, nobody was talking about it. They've defined it, but no one did it. Now, with the internet especially, everybody's a specialist. Everybody's now going from psychic to life coach or inspirer. Okay, I hate the word psychic anyway. It's too gypsy, but it is what it is.
What do you like to be called?
I don't know. I've never known how to
Dr. Linda.
Well, it's Dr. Linda, yeah. Because, and the reason I got the PhD was to qualify and quantify the science, which is epidemiology, with the woo-woo, which is the psychic, but metaphysics is actually psychology blended with spirituality and religion. And Dr. Carl Jung was the head of metaphysics, the father of metaphysics. So, I'm not the only one. And it's just, that's where I go because I can see both sides. The average person either sees the cognitive or the creative spiritual, but few, like you were reading that book, bring it together. And that's the beauty because it is all balanced. Most of us don't want to dig, don't want to relive the past, don't want the pain, don't want to cop to the truth, don't want to admit they're wrong, don't want to talk about abuse or molestation or stealing or whatever. We're human.
And you experience that, I'm sure, because you've done readings and people are, no, Dr. Lynn, that's not what I'm going to do. That's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, I get yelled at. I've got an email thing going on right now. I gave the woman back half her money. She had twice the reading. She yelled and screamed to the point that I yelled and screamed back because I just mirror these people's spirit. And she goes, I don't want to keep arguing back and forth. Well, she doesn't stop writing. I told her why I gave her a refund. I keep telling her, go away, go find someone else. She keeps coming back. I didn't mean to hurt you. It's like, but there's those, I said, I'm at a point in my life where I can pick and choose my clients. Thank God. When you're in your 30s and 40s, you're on your way up. I'm in my 60s. I've been there. I'm on a different landscape and platform now. So I've paid my dues. It doesn't mean I'm done. It just means I'm changing.
Yeah. Well, you know more about self-care and healthcare.
Self-care, other people, the industry, the charlatans, the rip-off artists, the backstabbers. Like you were saying, it's easier to do negative feedback on on those websites for Yelp and rip off. It's easier to be angry and get it out there
and
to say, wow,
somebody else than to, you know the saying, when you point your finger at somebody else.
Come back.
Yeah. What So just kind of talking about this, and let's go back to this email exchange a little bit, because I think you probably have some good advice on when negative stuff's coming at you, or you're in kind of a conflict, you're feeling just tremendous anxiety. Like, what do you do after maybe you were on the radio show and you did all these readings and you're feeling it all, and you're feeling fatigued? Like, what do you do?
There's a drain. Yesterday, very good question. I had several readings yesterday, plus we packed and shipped candles, which I'll talk about in a moment. My girl was there to pack, and then I had somebody just really take it out of me. But because I'm so psychic, which is different from being empathic, we're all intuitive. We can all be empathic to a level, but I'm a psychic, which is more where I see your future, I see the events or whatever. And then I pull it in. So sometimes somebody will say something and I suck it in, and it takes hours to really purge, and I'm like drained. My own father upset me yesterday because I said I would have an answer on Sunday regarding something for Tuesday. Well, the people who were getting back to me didn't get to me till Monday because they had people in from out of town. Everybody's life is a little imbalanced. So I called him yesterday to confirm, because I already made plans. I didn't hear from you. I'm like, excuse me, I'm not important enough. If it didn't happen in his time frame and on his book, well, I felt punched. Like, oh God, so now it's 3 weeks away. Okay. Or the person coming from Tennessee, when he called and he starts dumping and then refuted something I said, and then he admitted it did happen. You know, you're on this roller coaster, and I'm trying to be professional and not be mouthy. Sometimes I'll get angry and aggressive, yes, because
just to let it out,
because they don't hear or they're pushing that button. But 90% of the time, I'm balanced, I'm focused, I'm in them. And then when I detach and hang up the phone, I go see the dog. I take a walk outside. I drink some water. Sometimes at night,
change the routine up a little bit.
Water is the healer. Water. I take a shower. When I used to have a pool, I'd go swimming. Right. If you're at the beach, get your feet wet. But I have to detach from all these personalities because a lot of them hold on. Especially the dead. When I was channeling, I would have a channel.
They like wanted to come back into life.
No, they wouldn't leave for 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
I would hear them, feel them, and they're in me.
Yeah.
And I had to you can't do this.
I like what I think Buddhism talks about darts, right? So there's
12,
darts.
There's 12,
So the first and the second are the ones that most of us are dealing with at any time. So the first dart is somebody else throws at you. You're now having to respond to that. But how you respond to that is actually the second dart, that you can make it worse.
We learn for action, reaction, total response. It's very young. It's very Pavlov's dog sort of. You throw him the bone, he's either going to catch it and ring the bell, or the rat's going to ring the bell, or not. So it's the same thing. Can I react immediately or hold it back and don't say anything? Or there's times I let resentment build so much, I just spit it out, rip somebody to shreds, then I'm done. And I quit a job recently because I couldn't handle the negativity in an environment. And I let it build up, and then I just let it all out. I left, but I felt better. There's this one person apologized because he saw what I meant. You don't want to be around me when that tongue comes out, trust me. But
I know that I don't.
There's a truth, because I come from truth. And because of the 3 near-death experiences, and I'm so connected to the other side, it's like I used to be on the radio and I would talk about like the bumper cars at the pier, and I've got that electrical thing with the wires. That's what I feel like. I'm connected to God. It comes out of me. It's not me.
This is why I like
it's the channel.
I like thinking of meditation as a practice morning and night to kind of remove that stuff. Like my friend Merle Yost, that's been on the show, talks about, he does this great workshop about boundaries and how to kind of put your bubble on when you're walking around. I have to put a bubble around a lot walking around downtown. But at the end of the day, just to have this meditation of okay, whatever darts I threw, take responsibility for them, take them out.
We all have to make
whatever ones are on me.
We all own our own actions. You want to call it darts, I call it amends. You know, so we all get attacked. We've all got mental, physical, spiritual aspects of self. Some people need to know more about God's spirituality, the alignment, the integration, and the process. Other people need to be reminded that God's rejection is God's protection. Very simple as to why it didn't happen. A coincidence is God acting anonymously. Here's a great story. One of the doctors I was working with, knew I needed a new tire, told me to go to this other place way out in the middle of nowhere in the valley, and I got there, and I had talked to James in the morning, and he said, come in, let's fill up the tire, let's see if you can get it patched, which he did. I said, how much do I owe you? He said, nothing. I said, nothing. So I said, well, my bumper needs fixing, so it needed glue and a screw and some paint. He says, all right, bring it in on Monday, and we'll fix it. And at 4 o'clock that afternoon, after I was done with my clients, I got a phone call from James saying my tire came in. I said, what tire? I was just at your shop. Long story short, I went to the wrong shop, but there was a James. So the universe fixed my bumper, gave me a tire for free. I've sent James 2 new people, went to the wrong James. The other James, I never showed
But
up.
that was your James.
It was my James. So the one person led me here. The universe led me there.
I love happy
I went
mistakes.
online to find out why. Yellow Pages, if you're listening, you got the wrong address under 2 body shops. I wrote down the right address for the right place I was originally going to, ended up at the wrong place with a new James. That's God. That's how I teach people, like butterflies. It's like it's like one of those magical moments.
My friend Hal calls that God shots.
It is a
He's
God
like,
shot.
I got a God
used to talk
shot
God
today.
shot all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
And can I recite a poem I used to put on the air? It's the same thing where I let people know how God works. I use butterflies as God. And years ago, it's a Sanskrit poem. It says, God, are you real? And the child whispered, God, speak to me. And a meadowlark sang. The child did not hear. So the child said, God, speak to me. And the stars shone brightly, but the child did not see. So the child said, God, speak to me. And the thunder rolled across the sky, but the child did not listen. So the child said, God, show me a miracle. And a child was born, but the child did not know. So the child exclaimed, God, touch me, show me you're real. Whereupon God reached down and touched the child, but the child brushed the butterfly away and walked away unknowingly. So since 1994, I read that poem on the air every single night, and I would get butterflies windmills and hats and T-shirts and mugs. And,
You got a lot of butterfly
got a lot
stuff.
of necklaces, yeah. But I let people see the spiritual aspects. You don't have to think religion. Religion and spirituality are very different.
Let's talk about that, because you're Jewish, right?
I am Jewish, and
So
I'm
how
still
did
Jewish.
So people always talk about, I can't believe in psychics because it's against my
especially the
religion.
Catholics. I had one Jewish rabbi that unfortunately, this Chabad leader, passed away 2 years ago, and I regret not getting his testimony in writing that he approved me. But I know in my heart I'm telling the truth. And then there's a Greek.
Is there anything in Judaism that says not
no.
to believe?
Well,
so
yeah,
it's more
they say don't talk to
false
the dead.
gods or
No, well, that's the idols.
Okay.
That's during the Maccabean War. The false idols then shifted into one god. The which is kind of the theory in my candle magic because it's Santeria mixed with Kabbalah. But I have a Greek Orthodox deist behind me that will testify to my work. So I mean, people of cloth have come to me. I've got rabbis around me, but I've had people call me, oh, my priest won't really let me talk to you. I said that if God didn't want me to have this gift, why'd he give it to me? And then they shut up. It's like, so, yeah, I'm not putting down religion. There's Catholicism. But some guy who was Catholic wanted a divorce, so he started Episcopalian, changed the rules to get a divorce. And then you got the Mormons, but they still have incest. And they sneak a drink or coffee, okay? But you're not supposed to. The Jews, we are the chosen. And now I really don't want to get into it because there's so much anti-Semitism, and most of my mother's family was killed in Auschwitz, and we're seeing a rise of anti-Semitism and racism again. It's pathetic and frightening and scary. But religion is man-made. Somebody made up rules. Somebody created the Bible. There's a lot of truth that does come true, like a prophet created. But there's over 3,300 religions on the planet. Who's right? What I have learned on this journey, when I was in Thailand, I saw the Buddhas. When I had the plane crash, I saw the Christ light. I was brought up as a Jew. You don't talk about Jesus. And I couldn't figure out why. What did he do? I didn't understand until I learned. And then studying metaphysics, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Catholicism, Christianity, it's just like ideas, rules, thoughts, fears, a lot of fear.
A lot of fear.
Because one time I was in Hawaii and this guy who was super, super into Christianity was trying to get me to, if you don't, you're going to burn in hell. I said, but I already met him.
Trying to convert you?
Yeah, and it's like, I got scared. It ran with me for a while. It's like, don't do that. I found the butterfly. We all have a belief. We all go to the same place. Once in a while, there's really a hell. It's not like what we've been taught. In 18 years on radio, Stephanie, there was only one time, if there is a hell, I found it.
You felt it in a reading, or how did
I was on the air. It was a Wednesday night. I had my screener who took the calls and the engineer. We were all in the studio, and some man called in from the Midwest. Hey, my name's Joey, and I want to talk to my cousin Louie, whatever his name was, right? I said, okay. Took a breath, opened the channel, because I don't just walk with a tube waiting for dead people to come talk to me. I have to get some information.
I just imagine that old, the way you would
my
put a
favorite
bank deposit.
Martian, or it goes to the chute. I mean, it's kind of like that. It comes in right here, but I'm not my favorite Martian with antennas, okay? But there is an energy that comes in. Something within 3 minutes, there was this dark, loud thump and a chill to the point I said, we got to go to commercial. All of us felt it. We heard it. And we all looked at each other.
So Joey wasn't in a good place.
Well, he was on the air. We went to commercial for 7 or 10 minutes, which you do not do. I looked at the engineer. I was in a glass booth, and we just stared until I could calm down, and we felt it in the studio change. I went back on the air. I said, who am I talking to? Oh, he was part of the mafia. So I brought in somebody that killed people a lot for money. I couldn't bring him in, but I said that was enough I needed to know. If you want to talk to me off the air, it's fine, but I can't afford this. But there was the only time that something so chilling and negative and filthy and frightening happened. Now, I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm not a paranormal specialist. I have cleansed homes. I have channeled in haunted houses. I can do it. I can work the Ouija board. I just don't do it anymore. I don't do it anymore. I did a lot of that, but I got lost in the spiritual world. Yes, I made money. Yes, I paid my bills, but my relationships were different. People wanted me for the wrong reasons, and I was finding some really strange people that were not quite my level of intellect, and they were odd. Certain expos I won't go to anymore because even though they're professional people, there's an oddness that I feel misplaced. So it's learning the balance.
I was just going to say, when I'm hearing you say this and describe this, it feels like maybe just like with anything, you could lean too far into it and it could have a pretty horrible effect on you.
You can. And you got to find, again, like your bubble. If you're putting in the bubble, or with me, it's white light or intuition or psychic, or you feel your way as to what hurts, what doesn't. You learn to trust you. I still go to psychics. Psychics call me. 3 or 4 told me I was going to be marrying this one guy. Now it's, well, you're just going to run parallel. You're not going to be marrying him. The other person still says you're going to marry him. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. God knows what's going to happen. If I marry him, I marry him. I don't know yet. We're not there yet. Okay? But 20 years ago, somebody described the person that's in my life now. And somebody described it 3 years ago. So this one person's seen, but it hasn't quite gotten there. Another said, no, go away. So you never know. The only way you can know is if their timing or the events start to unfold the way you want. If you're going to go to a psychic, you can go to too many and get so many readings you don't know what to trust. Go back to God, let the universe guide you, right?
This is what's coming up for me, Linda, when you're sharing this, is that just the importance of staying connected, of like really paying attention to you and your path. Because I think about my career path, and I didn't really, in my 20s, I look back and go, this is so random. It doesn't
no, it's
but
not.
now
You didn't even have YouTube in your 20s.
Yeah, but now I see everything is so connected, and like I think that awareness of like everything is meaningful. And
yes, because case in point, I was 19 when I left for San Francisco State, went into the health ed program, and I was 21 when I graduated, 23 when I got my master's, 54 or 55 when I got my PhD. Now I'm 65, and all of that is part of me, but now I'm working in doctors' offices on the physical level, touching people, wrapping them in laser, teaching them diet, exercise, new behavior on a different level rather than talking about their career. I mean, it still comes up, but I've separated it. your experience as a human being. That's what we didn't know when we were in our 20s, to look at our 60s, where do I want to be? Some people can see that. We don't realize this body travels through time as this entity. You will always be you, with all the internal changes and exterior disappointments and happiness and excitement and people, places, things, coming in, leaving, open, close, Michigan, LA, Dallas, it's the journey. It's the excitement.
You know what just really came up when you said that? It became very clear. So when you first told me, I'm now doing these things with doctors and helping people lose weight, and it's more of a physical and medical offering.
It's
and
grounding.
I didn't totally get it, but you know what? I didn't get why you were doing it, but what I just felt and really connected with is like, you have been in a position of sharing words and guiding people and go, this is what I see, this is what I see. And it makes sense to me that now it's touch. That I don't think people are getting enough touch. And I mean, just physical
not
interaction.
Not only that, Stephanie, but being on radio from 94 to 09 and everything in between. I just did a show for CBS a couple months ago. So, I mean, I'm still out there. But like you asked, what do I do to decompress? I'll just sit on Facebook, or I'll go to some HBO movie and just lose it. Right? But after being a psychic, which is all mental and spiritual, because I draw in these energies, I don't know where, I'm a conduit. Open my mouth, there's your answer. Sometimes I hear, there's clairvoyance, which is seeing, there's clairaudient, which is hearing, there's clairsentient, which is feeling, and people don't understand the different aspects that makes us psychic. Then channeling is not the same as psychic. Channeling is communicating with that other dimension of the dead and bringing that in. And healing, I heal through breathing, color, and words. People lay down on the phone, and I'm healing people all over the world. So I have a gift to do all of this. Then I gotta just stop, because I give. The money is not enough for what I do. It doesn't pay me enough. I can't charge that much because people can't afford it. What I'm doing now gets me out of that woo-woo world of everybody needing me. And they need me differently, but it's twice a week for 4 weeks.
And it's a transaction.
Everything. It's a transaction. I keep notes. We talk. They're gone. The next one's there. So I'm a doctor. In a white coat. Dr. Linda, Dr. Linda.
With a beautifully embroidered coat.
I think so. I have to ask your opinion later because I got 2 logos. But anyway, it's just different. It's where I started. I think at one point I wanted to be a doctor. I would never have made it to med school. I wouldn't have passed the test. But I've already had that in me. And I think from past lives I was a healer. I also know in past lives I was a singer-songwriter because I have hundreds of songs. I walked from 2 record deals. So, I mean, it's there. And we just get to wear different hats if you want to. When you were 20, no, you didn't maybe see yourself as the host, but I think you always had a vision of fame, fortune, recognition. You were craving stardom to a point of recognition.
No, it's more like helping. Like, it's knowing that, for me, why I do the show. Like, I don't have children. I'm not going to have children. I'm in my 40s. That's not happening at this point.
My patients and clients are the children.
But it's important to, as I look around and feel like this is not right, and I only have a limited time on this earth, and I'm going to do what I can to make it better. I want to leave some sort of legacy.
Make a difference.
I want to make a difference, and I'm not anti-capitalist, but I'm definitely more like people first. Like, we need more people first.
Well, I am too, which is why the world is so skewed, because there's not enough healing. Let's not go political in this show.
We don't say his name on the show.
No, but we don't have to. But it's a mess. The whole ecosystem, the psychiatrists have developed a new code to treat people for the anxiety and depression. I mean, it's become an itis. It's a
fatigue too.
There's a fear. The animals. I saw on YouTube the walruses in Alaska that don't have snow to grasp onto with their claws. They're tumbling to their death. I've seen that. I am more upset over the animals being hurt, dying, going extinct. I just saw a koala bear with a baby koala bear walking along the path, and they're on the extinction list.
And they all,
they don't deserve what man has done.
There's a great series on Netflix called One Strange Rock, or something similar, with Will Smith as the narrator. and it does a great job. And part of it is they're interviewing like 9 or 12 astronauts that have had that overview effect of like having these scientists, deep, very, very motivated and scientists that may not have felt spiritual energy before, but when they see the Earth, they felt this beautiful energy of spirituality. But in this series, they talk about and give evidence to how everything's connected. So if you don't care about the koala bear, and you're like, it doesn't affect me, it's not even in my country, there are animals like our bees and things that are doing stuff.
In my backyard, every time I pick up a dead bee, I talk to it. I said, I'm so sorry for what we've done. I feel the pain of the death of the bee. I'm so connected. When I see these poor little bees, they don't deserve to die. They're here to help us.
They're crazy too. Like if they're alive, they're buzzing differently. They're like
everything's different, but they don't live as long. I watch for butterflies. I'll be outside now. I see the yellow one. Now I see the white one. Now I see the gold one. Okay, so the butterflies are a wink of God, or my mother, or my grandmother, or I ask a question in my mind. Then there's a butterfly, and there's the confirmation of God, the wink.
Yeah.
You got to just watch the universe. But we're so busy in the car, in the office, on the computer, on the laptop, on the phone, just like you're saying at the beginning of the show. We're so a mess. And now it's 5G is coming, which will kill us and burn us, and the radiation, and how you got to hold your phone away from your head or you'll get more brain cancer. They're killing us. They know what they're doing.
This is why I'm never going to wear a device. I do not have an Apple Watch.
You don't?
No, I'm never going to wear anything on me.
It's scary.
It is scary. All right, well, let's try to
come back to God.
Let's try to go somewhere positive. So
is it God's will that we create all this mess, or is it man's will? It's man that has intelligence. God is saying, watch it, people. And then you got all the Russians, the 5 nuclear scientists that died testing something, or we have a leader that doesn't believe in science or climate or fresh water,
mental health,
abortion, babies, food, GMOs. They're poisoning us. So we have to take responsibility, just like for our emotions, or say, did I hurt you? Did I offend you? I'm really sorry. I mouthed off at somebody. I said, why do you still want me to do blah, blah, blah? Because, well, you're not the only one that's wrong. And it's like, he doesn't know how to say, I'm really sorry, or I goofed, or I messed up. But let's kind of work it out. In his limited mode of communication, I have more words than this person does, but I understand his limitations, so I can still work with this person.
Yeah.
On another person, like the email girl.
And I think how important our connection to each other is.
Absolutely.
Like to just severing that in any way. Like you just don't want to burn a bridge.
Right. There's some friends I've had since grammar school. There's some friends that come and go in 2 or 3 years. They just kind of hang out, and then you think about them, but you don't see them. There's some people you reunite with, and there's like nothing. Mm-hmm. Then there's people you reunite with that you knew 30 years ago that never really were your friend. Now you're friends.
I have a hard time. I think a lot of when I reconnect with people, how fast I feel they're just not there anymore. Like you outgrew them. Like I haven't seen you in 10 years, and you're glued to your phone, and you have 0 questions to ask me.
Because
like,
they're not on your level. They're not on your level, Stephanie. You've ascended. They're still here. I call them lower ethereal.
And I think that's an important place to kind of stop and pay attention to. Like I know there's people that are listening or watching that feel isolated because they are working on themselves. They're growing, they're learning, and like it gets easier. I just want to say, but you do as you almost look at it like a pyramid, and as you grow with knowledge and learning.
But you have to be open to the experience. You can't. People go, well, how do I become spiritual? Well, I can't answer that in a 40-minute session. Okay, how do I find God? So I give, God's rejections, God's protection, watch the butterfly. I give little snippets. Mm-hmm. But if somebody really wants to open up, like the man who called 2 years ago, I said, get rid of this, sell the house, give her the money, you'll find the right woman to marry. Boom, it's happened.
Yeah.
Because he took direction. I can give readings. What didn't happen? I said, what'd you do to help it? Or when I had readings when I was younger before I understood it, one woman predicted this one man I was going to marry. I ended up with him. He proposed to me, and I ran. I left him. But it happened. Mm-hmm. So if you want a psychic prediction, is it psychic? Is it spiritual? Do we really have vision? Or do we create it? No, it's real. I didn't believe any of this. Talking to dead people, healing people, psychics, till it happened to me. If I listen to me, I think she was wacko. But I've lived it, which is why I'm on your show, because it's real. Is it odd or is it God?
Yeah. I think it's there because we are connected to each other.
We are
Every
connected,
single person.
but I'm also connected to the other side, which a lot of people are not. So I've got this to give to people, and some people, we're all on different levels.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let me ask you the question that I ask every guest that comes on the show. So when I say this phrase, exceptional human encounters, what does that mean to you? There's no right or wrong answer, obviously, but what does that mean to you?
I get that, and I think everywhere on the journey, whether you're in your 20s, your teens, your 40s, your 30s, your 50s, your 60s, my dad 90, everybody's exceptional. Everybody contributes. I did a little presentation at my dad's party in front of 80 people. And towards the end, besides going through childhood experiences, at the end I said, Dad, when I was 6, you started telling me that someday you're not going to be here. So he prepared me to become independent. Like, don't depend on me, but I'll be here. I said, and here you are at 90. I'm 65 and you're still here. I said, and look at all these people. 80 people from around the world have come here to honor you because you've touched their lives and they've touched yours.
Yeah.
Okay? So we all, we're in that tapestry. Some people don't want to open the door. Some people stay on the journey. Some people are on the outside. Some are right inside. But we're all part of the experience. My boyfriend from high school is still in my mind. Doesn't mean we get together today because he's a grandfather, lives away, but we don't talk. Some people stay in touch with their exes, jobs, workers, but it's that whole yin yang, positive, negative, black, white, spiritual, non-spiritual. You got to find again the truth. And when you find the truth, oh, that hurts. No, we don't have anything in common. Oh, this one makes me laugh so much. I feel so good in their presence. This one gets me. This one understands the psychic. This one is intelligent enough to talk about psychic and perfume, because a lot of people think it's just all about the psychic, gimme. No, I have interest in clothing and purses and perfumes and real estate. Puppies. I have a dog, as you can tell. It's not just the woo-woo.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to know.
This is the human experience.
But
we have
all
full
have
interest.
Unique. I told you about a girl whose son committed suicide. She wrote a book, and if you want to read it, it's called The Return of Mikey. And I channeled Mikey, and she transcribed that channeling session in her book, talking about autism and everything that happened with Asperger's. And she's amazing.
I watched her video that you sent.
So who's to say she's any more or less magnificent than the next? She did her thing. She just got engaged to the same guy I said 10 years ago she's going to marry. So on Facebook, she says, I'm finally engaged. I said, finally. She goes, yeah, you told me 10 years ago I'd marry him. We're just slow. But it happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people are boring. I'm not going to deny it. Some people are very limited in their sharing, or they're dumb. I mean, don't get me with a Fortune 500 customer service person. May I have your supervisor, please? Because they get half from the left ear to their middle of their head. Then they lose what I'm calling about. Can I please have your supervisor? I want to get this done. I don't have time to figure it out or look it up. Just, can I have your supervisor? Leave it 3-star. They need help. This one was laughing in their microphone. I said to the manager, I said, her mic was on. I heard her laughing and backstabbing me. That's not cool for your customers. Or if I get really uptight, I'll get to the CEO. I'll get to the VP. I will not stop till I get my point across.
I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, you have to, because there's these people. So the average is open. The average is hungry. That's why all these seminars are everywhere with leaders, spiritual, inspirational, channeling dead people, giving readings, whatever. The soul's thirsty. I'm full. I don't need to do it anymore. I did it for 25 years. I was searching. Now I know. That's why I give in a different way now. But it's part of my journey.
Yeah.
20 years from now, you can come back and say, I get it. I got it. Now I'm at this point, and you'll see your own process. The key is to open your eyes and your heart and stand there when it happens, and then figure it out. You can reject, you can accept. There's no right, there's no wrong. But I have learned on a spiritual path, there's less pain, fewer obstacles, fewer
I feel that.
upsets when you're following the will of God. Man's will, I want this, 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 and that. So I go after it, and all the doors keep closing. But. I go this way, and it keeps growing and opening. And this, it's like, but I don't want this. And then I want it because it's what's happening. Oh, that's not so bad. Really? Figure out your will versus God's will. If I want to keep a normal weight, where I'm still 20 pounds heavier than I want to be, but not as heavy as I once was, then I have to be willing to give up certain foods and watch on a daily basis my intake. If I'm not willing, like when I'm working with people with the laser removes inches up to 4.5 to 20 a month. But if you're not doing your part with the diet and the exercise, you can pay for the laser, it'll help, but you got to help it.
Totally.
It's always, we have to be involved with our process.
Yeah.
When I first became psychic and spiritual, I was like, let go, let God. So every day I didn't have a plan. I would let the day unfold, and I watch what the universe gave me, good or bad. And one day I remember my dad said, what are you doing? I said, I'm becoming spiritual. Now, this is a big businessman known all over the world, right? I mean, Steve Jobs was his customer building Apple. That goes way back, okay? That kind of intensity. He goes, if you want to be spiritual, go to India, sit on a mountain. He got it. But I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Well, then I realized it's a process. It's a daily reprieve. I talk to God in the morning. I say, good night, God. Good night, Mom, when I go to sleep. And in between, God. It's a consciousness, not religious. I watch for the butterflies on my journey.
Definitely.
You're a butterfly. You popped up on my email. Hi. You know.
I like knowing that I'm a butterfly.
Yeah, you're a butterfly.
Thank you.
We all are. We come out of the cocoon and we fly. If you're still in the cocoon, you can contact people like us and we'll help you out of it.
Oh. Well, Linda, we're at the end of our time together, but we get to do one more thing together. So I like to issue a social challenge of the week for people to just invite people into learning and experiencing themselves in a different way. It's usually very self-explorative. And I wrote this down, but I want to see if you feel this or if you want to modify this. So going back to what I shared at the beginning of the show about this 5-to-1 ratio of like positive to negative interactions, I'm wondering if the social challenge should be being mindful about putting out 5 positive interactions, and maybe in doing that, looking for the spirituality in it, like really, not having an expectation of how you're going to interact with people and how their interaction is going to come back to you, but just doing it in a way that.
So what's the question? What do you want to know?
So we're shaping a social challenge to issue, and I'm saying I'm leaned into this like 5. Think about 5 positive interactions that you can have daily, and as you're doing them, inviting spirituality into it. You don't have to like have any expectations about that, but just say I'm inviting God into that. What are your thoughts?
Even
on
if you're going for coffee.
Yeah.
The barrister.
Inviting God to coffee.
Go to coffee. And don't be nasty when they're working at minimum wage to make a coffee the way you want it, with all the cream or no cream, and all the flavor and no flavor, all the whip and the not whip. They're going crazy with 90,000 different types. And sometimes they're nasty and you give it right back because they're cold, so I don't tip them. Most of the time I tip them. The groomer, a little rough. She wanted a tip. I didn't tip her. Then when I went home, I Venmo'd her $10 to quiet it down, but Venmo wasn't working at the moment. I did it anyway.
Yeah.
I invited it in, like, calm it down. She was up. I was up. It was a hard time because the technology that's beyond our control, and she had other people. Okay, step away. Or the relationship I'm in. Back off, dive in. Know the limitations, the age difference, the spiritual versus cognitive differences. Because I'm psychic, I see it before it happens. I have to back off, but I bring God into it most of the time with a positive attitude. I've learned where to understand other people's limitations because they're so closed or in so much pain from abuse or negativity. What might look like a multi-million-dollar income with a beautiful home and everything in life, but they're in pain inside. You don't know.
Yeah.
I get a lot of celebrities. I get a lot of wealthy people, and then when they open up, it's like, really, you hear the truth, and it's sad.
All right. Well,
So you bring in knowing that we're all in pain. It's
Definitely.
all just a mask. We're a mask.
Definitely. So I'd say the challenge is, for the next week, really lean into giving out 5 positive interactions
smile.
with no
Hi, how are you?
expectations. No expectations of what's coming back, but also as you do them, inviting spiritual energy in. Again, no expectations and no judgment about where they are at or what they need, but just be positive.
Watch for butterflies.
Yeah.
Let the miracles.
Let the butterflies happen. All right. Well, that's it. That's our time together. I really appreciate you being here. We will share all the links to get a hold of Linda and all the things that she's doing when we wrap the show. And as always, I just want to encourage everybody to think about what kind of positive, exceptional human encounters you can make happen for you and for someone else.
Just touch someone's heart.
See you next week.